Imagine a city so powerful that the entire world depends on it. Wealthy, dominant, full of luxury, but also filled with corruption, arrogance, and rebellion against God. Now, imagine that city being completely destroyed in a single moment. This is not just a warning from the past. The Bible speaks of a new Babylon, an empire that will rise at the end of times and face the full wrath of God. But here's the most shocking part, that city may already exist today. What exactly is this new Babylon? Where is it? How will God bring about its end? The answers to these questions might change the way you see the future and the world around you. Stay with me until the end of this video, because what you will discover here is not just a prophecy, it could be the destiny of humanity. To understand the prophecy of the new Babylon, we need to go back to its origins. The story of Babylon does not begin as a mighty empire, but as a symbol of something much greater, the human attempt to defy God. It all starts with the famous Tower of Babel. You've probably heard this story before. Shortly after the flood, humanity still spoke a single language and decided to build a tower so high that it would reach the heavens. In Genesis 11 verse 4, the people said, "Let us build a city and a tower that reaches the heavens, so that we may make a name for ourselves and not be scattered across the earth." But this was not just an ambitious engineering project. It was an act of pride and rebellion against God. They did not want to depend on their Creator, they wanted to become like Him. So, God intervened, confusing their languages and scattering them across the world. The tower project was abandoned, and the city was named Babel, meaning confusion. But Babylon's arrogance did not end there. Centuries later, Babylon rose to prominence again under the rule of Nebuchadnezzar, one of the most powerful kings in history. He built an impressive empire that dominated vast regions and imposed its culture and religion on conquered peoples. His greatest pride? The city of Babylon, filled with wealth, towering temples, and the famous Hanging Gardens, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. But despite all its splendor, Babylon still represented the same essence, the exaltation of man above God. This was the empire where the prophet Daniel lived. And it was there that he witnessed the madness of Nebuchadnezzar when the king, consumed by pride, lost his sanity and spent 7 years living like an animal, eating grass and wandering through the fields. A clear reminder that no empire can defy God without consequences. The city was a center of idolatry, where false gods were worshipped, sacrifices were offered, and immoral practices took place without restraint. In Daniel 3, we see another remarkable episode. Nebuchadnezzar builds a massive golden statue and orders everyone to worship it. Those who refused would be thrown into a fiery furnace. 3 Hebrew men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, refused to bow and were cast into the fire. But God delivered them, proving that Babylon might be powerful, but it could never surpass the true God. Babylon thrived for a time, but its pride and corruption led to its downfall. In a single night, the empire collapsed. King Belshazzar, Nebuchadnezzar's grandson, was hosting a great banquet when a mysterious hand appeared and wrote an enigmatic message on the wall. The prophet Daniel was called to interpret it and revealed that Babylon's reign had come to an end. And so it happened. Cyrus, the king of Persia, invaded the city and took Babylon without resistance. The empire that seemed invincible vanished from history. But that was not the end of Babylon. The Bible warns us that Babylon will return. And not as a historical ruin, but as a new global system that will dominate the world before the end times. The book of Revelation speaks of a city called Babylon the Great, a center of political, economic, and spiritual power that will be destroyed in the final judgment. But this city is not just a physical place, it represents a system of values, a culture that opposes God and seduces nations with its luxury and power. Which leads us to a big question: does this new Babylon already exist? In the next few minutes, we will examine the evidence and discover whether we are already living under the shadow of this prophesied empire. Don't go anywhere, because what comes next may completely change the way you see the world today. If ancient Babylon was already a symbol of pride and corruption, the prophecy warns us that a new Babylon will arise. But it will not be just a city, it will be a global system, an empire that will exercise absolute control over the world's economy, politics, and culture. The Bible describes this new Babylon as a center of wealth and influence, a powerhouse that seduces nations with its luxury and promises of prosperity. In the book of Revelation, chapter 17, this new Babylon is called the Great Prostitute, a city that spreads its immoral practices and manipulates the kings of the earth. But what does this mean? Many scholars and theologians have debated this question. The new Babylon could be a superpower nation that dominates global trade and culture, a global economic system that makes nations dependent on it, a political and financial organization such as the United Nations or a future world government. What we know for sure is that this new Babylon will have an unprecedented reach. It will be the heart of the system that will govern the world in the end times. And what if I told you that the signs of this system are already all around us? Today, more than ever, we see the rise of structures that concentrate power in the hands of a few. Technology, finance, and global politics are becoming interconnected in ways that have never happened before. Consider these facts. Physical money is rapidly disappearing. Entire countries have already adopted 100% digital payments. Artificial intelligence and automation control everything from what we consume to what we think. Censorship and information control are becoming increasingly strict. All of this points to a future where a single system can control people, exactly as the prophecy describes about New Babylon. What makes this New Babylon so dangerous is not just its power, but the way it wins the loyalty of the world. The Bible describes this city as a woman dressed in luxury, adorned with gold and precious stones. She symbolizes a system that enchants people with wealth, comfort, and pleasure, but behind this seductive appearance lies corruption, idolatry, and spiritual destruction. Think about this, never in history have we had a world so obsessed with status, money, and entertainment. Social media bombards us with images of success, wealth, and power, while moral values are discarded in the name of freedom and progress. New Babylon does not force anyone to follow it, it seduces. It makes people desire to be part of it. And little by little, nations become dependent on this system. Despite all its power, the prophecy is clear: New Babylon will be destroyed. The book of Revelation says that its fall will come suddenly, unexpectedly. Everything that has been built will collapse in a single moment. The kings and merchants who benefited from this system will mourn its destruction, but nothing will stop divine judgment. And now comes the big question: if this new Babylon is already emerging, what does that mean for us? In the next section, we will understand how this prophecy connects with our time and what we should do in light of this revelation. Stay with me, because what comes next may completely change the way you see the world. If New Babylon is a global system of control, seduction, and power, the big question we must ask is, does it already exist today? The answer may be more frightening than we imagine. Look around. The world has never been so connected, so centralized, and so dependent on a single system. Technology, the economy, and global politics are converging to a point of no return. And if we analyze the signs, we will see that the structure of New Babylon is already being built before our eyes. The Bible warns us that, in the last days, no one will be able to buy or sell without the permission of the dominant system. Revelation 13 verse 17 says that people will need a mark to participate in the world economy. Now think about what is happening in the world. Physical money is disappearing. More and more countries are adopting digital currencies, controlled by central banks. Artificial intelligence and algorithms decide what we buy, what we watch, and even what we think. The power to block bank accounts and restrict transactions is in the hands of a few. Today, if someone wants to prevent you from purchasing something, it takes just one click. Facial recognition technologies, digital identification, and financial transaction tracking are becoming global standards. And this places economic control in the hands of a powerful minority. Now imagine a future where this system is controlled by a single world government. Does it sound like fiction? That is exactly what the prophecy warns us about. Another crucial point about New Babylon is its dominance over information and culture. Revelation describes this city as the one that deceives the nations with its influence. And if we look at the world today, we see that we have never been so vulnerable to information manipulation. Large corporations and governments control what can or cannot be said. Social media filters content, promoting certain ideas while silencing others. Truth has become relative, while lies are sold as reality. Have you noticed how society is increasingly conditioned to accept certain narratives without questioning? How pop culture, movies, music, and even algorithms promote the same values while rejecting anything that goes against this agenda? This is not happening by chance. We are being shaped to accept a single way of thinking, a single worldview, a single global leadership. The Bible tells us that New Babylon will be a center of moral and spiritual corruption, a place where God's values will be replaced by pleasures and idolatry. Now look at the world. Never have we been so focused on materialism, hedonism, and the pursuit of fleeting pleasures. Family and traditional values are being dismantled. Entertainment increasingly promotes violence, immorality, and selfishness. True spirituality is being replaced by empty philosophies. What was once considered wrong is now celebrated. What was once a source of shame is now a source of pride. The world is being programmed to reject everything that comes from God and accept a new system of values, the system of New Babylon. If the prophecy is correct, and everything indicates that it is, then New Babylon is already here. It may not have fully revealed itself yet, but its structure is already in place. Financial control, information manipulation, and the degradation of moral values are not just trends, they are signs that we are moving toward the fulfillment of this prophecy. And now comes the big question: what should we do? In the next section, we will talk about how the Bible guides us to act in the face of this reality. Don't leave now, because this may be the most important part of this video. If New Babylon is already being built and its fall is prophesied, how should we act? Is there anything we can do to avoid being deceived by this system? The Bible gives us clear answers to this. First, we need to be aware of the signs. Jesus warned us that in the last days, many would be deceived. In Matthew 24 verses 4-5, he said, "Watch out that no one deceives you. For many will come in my name, claiming, 'I am the Messiah,' and will deceive many." What does this mean? It means there will be a great global illusion, something that will seem good, will seem right, but will actually be leading people away from God. This is already happening. The system of New Babylon presents itself as something modern, innovative, and progressive, but at its core, it is a path to spiritual destruction. The second step is to not conform to this system. In Romans 12 verse 2, Paul teaches us, "Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." This means that while most people will accept New Babylon and its values, we must remain firm in the truth. We must live according to God's principles and not according to the culture imposed upon us. Finally, there is a very clear command in Revelation 18 verse 4, when God gives a direct order to his people, "Come out of her, my people." In other words, we must not be entangled with this system. We must prepare ourselves spiritually, emotionally, and even physically for what is to come. Now, the big question is, how will the end of New Babylon come? The Bible tells us that New Babylon will not last forever. Revelation 18 describes its fall as a sudden and devastating event. In a single day, the entire system that has been built will be destroyed. The accumulated wealth, global influence, economic and political power, everything will disappear. Verse 10 says, "Woe! Woe, great city, Babylon, mighty city! In 1 hour your doom has come." The fall of New Babylon will be so shocking that the rulers and merchants of the world will mourn its destruction because everything they built will have been in vain. But notice an important detail: those who are part of this system will be destroyed along with it. This brings us to one last and fundamental question: what happens after the fall of New Babylon? The destruction of New Babylon is not the end of the story, it is the beginning of something much greater. After the fall of this evil system, the true kingdom will be established. The book of Revelation continues by describing the return of Jesus in glory, coming as King of Kings and Lord of Lords. All human kingdoms will fall, and only God's rule will remain. The contrast between New Babylon and New Jerusalem is striking. New Babylon is marked by corruption, deception, and idolatry. New Jerusalem is pure, holy, and governed by God's justice. Revelation 21 verses 2 to 4 gives us a glimpse of this wonderful future. I saw the holy city, the New Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, prepared as a bride beautifully dressed for her husband. And I heard a loud voice from the throne saying, "Look! God's dwelling place is now among the people, and he will dwell with them. They will be his people, and God himself will be with them and be their God. He will wipe every tear from their eyes. There will be no more death, or mourning, or crying, or pain, for the old order of things has passed away." This will be the true government, an eternal kingdom of peace, justice, and love. Now, the final question we must ask is, which city do you belong to? New Babylon, which will be destroyed? Or New Jerusalem, which will last forever? If you have made it this far, it means this message has impacted you. And now you have a choice. You can ignore all of this, continue living as if nothing is happening, and go along with the flow of this system. Or you can make a decision today and start preparing for what is to come. The Bible teaches us that salvation is available to all who choose to follow God. Jesus said, "I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me." John 14 verse 6. If you want to be on the right side when that moment comes, start seeking God more. Read the Bible. Pray. Prepare your heart. And before you go, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. This helps spread this message to more people. Right now, on the screen, there is another video that will go even deeper into this topic. Click on it and continue your journey of knowledge. Stay with God, and see you next time.